There's a moment almost everyone has experienced. Something goes wrong. A plan collapses, a plan falls apart, technology fails, someone lets you down, and in that moment, you either freeze, spiral, or somehow just handle it. That third response, the ability to just handle it, is not luck. It's not personality. It's a trained psychological skill, and it turns out one generation developed it almost by accident, simply because they had no other choice. That skill is called frustration tolerance, the capacity to stay functional when something doesn't work, when a problem has no immediate fix, when the world refuses to cooperate. And whether you're 25 or 65, this is probably the one skill you secretly wish you had more of. Before we continue, if this idea already feels personal to you, take a moment to subscribe to Labyrinth Psychology. This is where we explore the labyrinth inside the human mind, not to get lost in it, but to finally understand why we react, cope, and survive the way we do. Turn on notifications so the next episode doesn't pass you by. Frustration tolerance sounds simple on paper. It just means being able to sit with discomfort without immediately needing it to go away. But in practice, it's one of the rarest and most valuable traits a mind can develop. Think about what happens today when something breaks. A slow internet connection, a delayed delivery, a canceled plan. For many people, the instinct is immediate irritation, followed by an urgent need to fix it right now, or complain about it right now, or escape it right now. That reaction isn't a personal flaw. It's the natural result of growing up in an environment engineered for instant resolution. When almost every inconvenience has a fast fix, the brain simply never gets the practice of waiting something out. Gen X, on the other hand, grew up in a world where waiting wasn't optional. It was the default setting of daily life. Picture calling a friend and getting a busy signal, with no way to know when the line would be free again. Picture a television show interrupted, with no option to pause, rewind, or stream it later. Picture a broken toy, a broken bike chain, a broken anything, with no next-day delivery, no replacement arriving by tomorrow morning. In every one of those moments, there were only two options: tolerate the discomfort, or find a way to solve it with whatever was on hand. There was no third option of instant resolution, and repeated exposure to that kind of friction over years quietly rewired the nervous system to handle delay without falling apart. This is where frustration tolerance and something called the marshmallow test intersect, a well-known area of psychological research examining the ability to delay gratification. Children who can wait, who can tolerate not getting something immediately, tend to show stronger long-term outcomes in focus, emotional regulation, and resilience. Gen X, in many ways, lived an entire childhood inside that experiment, without ever knowing it. Here's the part that matters most. This isn't a story about one generation being better than another. It's a story about a skill that has become harder to build simply because the environment changed. Millennials grew up watching that shift happen in real time, from dial-up waiting to same-day everything. Gen Z was born straight into a world of instant messages, instant streaming, instant answers. Neither generation is weaker for it. They simply had far fewer chances to practice sitting with discomfort, because the world kept removing the discomfort before it could even register. And that's exactly why so many people, regardless of age, find themselves quietly admiring the version of frustration tolerance Gen X carries. It's not nostalgia, it's recognition of a mental muscle that modern life rarely asks anyone to use anymore. The good news, psychologically speaking, is that frustration tolerance isn't fixed. It's not something you either have or don't have for life. It can be rebuilt, at any age, simply by choosing, on purpose, to sit with small discomforts instead of immediately escaping them. If you recognize yourself as someone who can wait, who can handle a setback without spiraling, who doesn't need every problem solved in the next 5 minutes, that's not a small thing. That's a psychological asset that took years, maybe decades, of quiet friction to build. And if you don't feel that way yet, that's not a character flaw either. It simply means you haven't had as many chances to practice it, which means the door is still open. Somewhere between a world where everything took time and a world where everything happens instantly, one particular skill quietly slipped through the cracks. Not intelligence, not talent, just the patience to stay steady while a problem hasn't been solved yet. Maybe that's the real skill every generation is secretly reaching for. Not the ability to fix everything faster, but the ability to stay whole while waiting for the fix to come.